so Chris D or Senseful Ronan asks, what are some essential ingredients for supportive and nourishing scenes? So I know you've done stuff with Intellect. You've also kind of adjacent to this part of Twitter. You've kind of become a quote, I think you called it in your We Were Voyagers piece, a switchboard for earnest nerds. Love it. So how do you think about like not just facilitating these kind of scenes, but then also establishing them, iterating, evolving, and then also making them towards the dominoes, supportive and nourishing rather than the first domino that you maybe made.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of variables about what makes good scenes. And when I look at existing scenes, I think there's not enough welcoming of new people. I mean, so again, like this we could do a whole 2 hours on this probably, so I gotta try and keep it snappy. But so scenes should be lively. The problem with a lot of so scenes tend to do well and then they tend to die. And I've always thought that if you want to understand something, find out how it fails, so that like if you want to understand how your car works, one of the fastest ways you can do it is Google like car problems and be like, oh, this thing does, like by reverse engineering how it fails, you get a sense of how to keep it working or healthy, right? And so scenes should be lively, and like everyone wants to participate in a lively scene, but there is a kind of homeostatic effect that I don't think it's like anybody's fault, but like scenes tend to get kind of insular without any external, it's just it's almost like a law of physics kind of, and a healthy scene has good people who sort of keep the chemistry, keep the molecules flowing. Because otherwise, if you end up with like a scene where one person has the highest status and everyone else kind of defers to them, and like there's no way for people to go up except by, even just saying go up is the wrong model. It's no longer a scene, right? It's like a hierarchy, it's like a cult. Whereas you need like liveliness, you need people entering and exiting, you need new people showing up and being encouraged and feeling that new voices are appreciated and respected. That's what keeps it lively. That's part of it. People need to be producing work that is public facing, that is not about the scene, right? Yep. So if you follow me on Twitter, so some people call the part of Twitter that we're on, this part of Twitter, teapot. I am very careful not to use the word teapot, because and not because I think it's a bad word, but because I want to remain welcoming and accessible to new people. Because once you have jargon, then the jargon becomes a thing people centralize around, and then you have insiders and outsiders, and again, there's something intimate and nice about having some insiders, but like it then becomes this kind of group hug, and it's hard to control those dynamics at scale. So there has to always be people who are like stirring the pot and like welcoming new people and doing that kind of thing. And the work there should be some work that is public facing. So that's very obvious in like music scenes and art scenes. Like you should be making stuff for the public. Because if you start making insular stuff where most of your scene is the scene discussing the scene, then again that gets incestuous and right. So I always tell, and I've been kind of invited to a few different communities sometimes. Like I'm like this friendly nomadic switchboard traveling uncle, and like I'll get invited to like this meditation heavy group or this even like effective altruists or whatever, some group of people. And I always tell every group, what you have here is amazing, that you have a group for people to feel at home in. And my wish for you is that you fuck off now and then. You kind of from like get out and and not just not because what you have is bad, because it is good, but like you gotta sometimes you gotta leave your hometown to see it for the first time, 100%. Right? To appreciate what you have. And when you go out into the world, you bring back perspective that anybody who's only in that hometown, they don't have that perspective. So it's like, if everyone leaves and comes back, and not all at once necessarily, you should encourage people to go out into the world, see different things, and that is healthy for the group, it's healthy for the individual. It just makes for livelier scenes, I think. So no scene should be like everyone here spends all their time here. Again, that's not a scene anymore, that's a cult. right? Like a scene should be, I always think it's like a public park, right? Like people show up after work or they show up with their kids and they kind of participate a little bit and then they move on, and there's that fluidity and flexibility there.